So it's not that everyone's just going lower and lower and lower on garlic press. That's not really it. At least
Right.
based on what I've seen on, especially if you look at Zulay and the analysis that I did, I posted on LinkedIn and Twitter. Uh, you have a choice. You don't always have to be the lowest price to win on Amazon.
Yeah. And I always advocate. So whenever I take on a client, I'm always talking to them about, okay, what's your price? That's the first thing we do. And we look at the costs, and I've got a template that kind of lights up in different colors based on where they rank in terms of profitability. And in the end, I say, okay, because everybody comes to the table with the idea to sell X. That's a single piece. I say maybe it's not a good idea to sell this as a single piece. Maybe you should create packs. So, in other words, my point is always don't focus on the price and then get into price competition. Build value so that way you can assign any price to that value. So, if you do that, like if you create bundles and packs and things like that, where it is now harder to compare your offering with an immediate direct competition, now you have a lot more flexibility to change your price depending on the demand, right? Because they're not going to be able to compare directly. Say, oh, this one is 29.95, but this one is 63.45. Okay, but it also comes with this and this and this. So that extra dollar or two, people don't care about. But that translates into extra 10 to 15% as you put in
Yep.
gross profit. That's
Yeah,
the
it's pricing power.
yeah, yeah. So it's so I would say it's the price combined with that value that you're building into your offering. Then you have a lot more flexibility on your price fluctuations that you can apply because it's not a direct comparison. It's not like you're buying this iPhone here for this much and this iPhone. No, this one comes with the iPhone and the case and this, that, the extra whatever, and then you're not going to worry about the price that much because there is a lot,
Yeah.
and then therefore they can really play with their price freely.
Yep.
So I think, uh, yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna say it the third time. You're increasing the size of the pie. That's the
Yep.
easiest thing to do.
Now, just to
So
take it one step further, just to finish, is this idea around spend and price harmonized together. You can increase your price 20%, and you can increase your ACOS, which is counterintuitive. Most people want to just have the lowest ACOS possible, but you can increase your ACOS, let's just say from 20% to 24%, which is a 20% increase. And then suddenly you can double your contribution profit by making those choices.
yeah, yeah. This is another thing, Chad. I don't know if you ever. This is not directly what your system is for, but um, I bring this up quite a bit. So people are extremely sensitive about their top line or top of their P&L, how much they are making, and how much they are uh, profiting, gross profit, but they don't really understand the bottom of the P&L, all the different line items. So, and as you know, there are so many of them with Amazon fees. Since they are always adding more fees, whether it's the return fee, refund fee, and this fee, that fee, now these inbound fees. So your contribution margin shrinks. So, what is your take on what a seller should be watching? Because everybody watches their ACOS, but ACOS does not give you that contribution margin, which is the net profit that they're making from Amazon.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is you have to have the ability to harmonize price and your spend together. Everyone knows that if you increase price, typically demand goes down. And if you lower price, demand goes up. And so you can artificially pump ad dollars into that to actually offset that lower demand that incurs where you can actually sell at a higher price. That's like what we do at Prophecy specifically. Now, when it comes to managing your ad campaigns specifically, most sellers are using ACOS or ROAS. And because most agencies and most softwares don't actually include your cost of goods sold, your landed cost into the equation. So they're using these like revenue embedded metrics that aren't inherently tied to the performance of the account. So what I suggest and what we use at my e-commerce business is what at Prophecy, how we're running things, something called POAS, which is your profit on ad spend. And your profit on ad spend is actually taking into account the total cost of delivery of that unit to the customer.
So profit on ad spend is your sales minus all your delivery FBA fees and everything else.
Well, yeah, so essentially you're looking at, so if you look at gross profit from your ad sales and you divide that by your ad spend, that'll give you your profit on ad spend, which is called POAS, profit on ad spend. And so this
Mhm.
includes all your costs, and it allows you to guide your performance of the campaign. So POAS of 1 means you're break even. It means that for every dollar I spend, I get a dollar back. We're breaking even on it. A dollar, if your POAS is greater than 1, that means you're making, for every dollar you spend, you're making, let's just say 1.25, you're making 25 cents for every dollar that you spend. Anything under 1 means that you're negative. But this is the idea of essentially you're understanding the power of how you can use profit to guide your decision-making abilities. You're not just relying on these distorted ad spend metrics of ACoS, which actually doesn't capture anything, right? It's just it's a vanity metric that essentially is misleading, that doesn't drive any decision making internally in the organization.
Yeah. And of course, those in some cases, 30% is not going to make money for some people. So that means it's going to be negative there. If they are tracking their POAS, it's going to be negative, right? That means they have to get out of that space.
Yeah, what you really want to do, you want to maximize every dollar of opportunity and figure out how you can use those dollars that you spend to maximize profitability,
Mhm.
and
So
considering all the cogs.
you don't bring tacos into the equation at all.
No, we use POAS to drive everything.
Okay. And in POAS, so in ACoS, you
By
are
the way,
looking.
even tacos is a revenue metric.
Yeah, but at least it takes into, because when you look at ACoS, you're just looking at the advertising sales, but you have organic sales. So that's why I usually recommend don't look at ACoS so much, look at tacos.
Yeah, but you can also, so you can do the same thing with POAS, right? So POAS in itself is your profit on your ad spend, and you can look at your TPOAS, which is your total profit on ad spend. You can do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you may
Again, and
be.
no one's saying that some sellers are okay losing money on their ad spend.